Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Hello, Hello podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers. And look at where we are today. We are in a beautiful setting in Scottsburg, Virginia at Reese's Farm Fresh with Sarah Reese herself. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us here. This is gorgeous. It's a beautiful day, beautiful time of year. Cannot wait to hear all the amazing things about Reese's. I mean, staple in the community. Everyone knows who you are. I mean, let's get into it. Tell me, let's get started from the beginning. How did this even happen? How did this start?
Okay, well, in the early 80s, my husband, he wasn't my husband then.
Yeah.
He and his parents started with a little roadside stand. They grew more produce. They grew it to eat and share, the cantaloupes, and they grew more than they could sell. So there was a crabapple tree in the driveway that a tarp was tied to. Mm-hmm. And Mrs. Reese would put out an honor box, and people would come through and they'd buy tomatoes and cantaloupes and watermelons just from under a little tent, and it would they would put their money in an honor box.
Yeah.
Which was amazing in itself.
That is.
And so then as it grew and got a little bigger, they would hire teenage help to come and run it in the summer while they were growing. Their main crop was tobacco. They also had the feed mill in Halifax that they ran. And so they had a lot going on. And so then in 1989,
yeah.
Don and I got married. And in 1995, we had our second child. And I decided that I wanted to stay at home.
Yeah.
But of course, that wasn't feasibly able to do that with money and all. So I quit my job. I came home and worked at the produce stand with Mrs. Reese.
Yeah.
They had built a pole barn that had a dirt floor, and it just kind of grew from there. Each year they'd add a little piece here and there, and they increased their produce business. They added the greenhouse.
Yeah.
They added pick your own strawberries, because whenever you have strawberries, people want to buy strawberries and they want to buy flowers. They kind of went hand in hand. So then when I quit work, all this started taking off. They had an extra hand to help grow all that.
Yeah.
And then in 2003, Don and I decided that we needed to make a little extra money, because it was three families. It was Don and his brother Jay and his family, and Mr. and Ms. Reese. And of course, anybody that lives on a farm knows that it's really hard for one family to make a living on a farm.
Yes.
But for three families to make it, plus you have all the issues of, family disagreements, conflict. You get along, but it's hard to stay happy and cohesive when you have to mix business in it. Anybody that's been in a family business knows that. And so we needed to find some extra income. So Don and I opened the little produce stand that's now in Centerville. It started out in Halifax at the feed mill.
Yeah.
The feed mill had closed. Everybody went all in farming produce and tobacco. Then when they had the tobacco buyout, a lot of you may or may not remember, to basically have farmers not grow tobacco anymore. We went all in on vegetables and melons and that sort of thing. And so we had our little stand in Halifax.
Yeah.
My mom, Gay Rice, and her husband, Al, ran that for us while we worked here.
Yeah.
And then we moved the next year to Centerville, to a better location where we had lots of traffic, and that's where we've been for the last 20 years. And in 2007, it was still hard to make ends meet with three families. And so Don and I purchased the retail operation, this part here.
Yeah.
He kept farming and I kept working here. We had to hire some extra help. Mrs. Reese retired, and Cheryl came on with us in 2007, full-time. She had come to work part-time in 2003. She worked for us full-time and has been with us ever since. I don't know how we'd make it without her, but we do somehow, we couldn't make it without her.
Yeah.
And then in 2015, it was sort of, we went through this little lull with the economy from about '08 to 2015. And so Don, with insurance and benefits and stuff like that, it was still kind of hard. So he went to teach full-time agriculture at the high school. So he's been there ever since. He still works here in the summertime and he helps me out, but most of the day-to-day decisions are mine.
Okay.
So he, of course, we had kids in college and they worked here and they've grown and gone on to their own things and full-time jobs, but we have Cheryl and we have Connor, who's been with us for about 3 years. He's our little resident farmer that helps us with day-to-day stuff and little niche crops that we grow. And we have Gabby, whose primary job is to work inside. And then we've got Kara Dyer and Neil and Wallace. They help us after school. So we've somehow been making it. Some days we don't know how,
Right.
but we just push through. We talked about before we started taping that it's just hard to make it a family business, and so you have to find creative ways and little niche things to do. And we try to come up with something all the time to add to the business and another way to get people in. And sometimes it feels like we still don't get enough people in, but we're doing what we can.
Well, you do a great job. What a journey, and thank you for being so transparent about that, because it's hard work.
Yes.
And it's never as easy as it may seem.
No.
And so there's a lot of intricacies and things that go into it. And then you have a farm. And so very weather dependent.
Yes.
And so take me through a day in the life of running this location and how you manage it all.
Well, sometimes I feel like we don't do it very well. My nephew grows most of the produce.
Okay.
We're doing some things that a little bit that he doesn't do, like we grow butter beans and purple hull peas, and we bought a harvester.
Okay.
That was one of Don's things that he's wanted to do for years, and we're trying to find ways to produce vegetables without having so much labor.
Yeah.
Because we really don't want to go to migrant labor, but it gets harder to get Americans to, or even local people that want to do this work. And I don't blame them, it's hard.
It is.
So most of the stuff is acquired through my nephew, Trey, and we purchase it and we sell it at this location, but we have to go get it and we have to make sure it's good quality, and we have to put it on a truck and we take it to Centerville, and we basically just run nonstop through the summer. Spring is a totally different season. We don't have a lot of our own vegetables coming in. We're getting a little bit of asparagus now, and then strawberries will kind of kick off the season when people will hopefully really start rolling in.
Yeah.
But we grow we don't grow many of the plants. We acquire the plants through a place in Clarksville, Aaron's Creek Farms, and we just try to just come in every day and work hard and try to find something new to do that is going to keep the doors open and pay our help, because overhead is a tremendous part of operating. That's your number one thing. If you can't pay your help, and then you can't have a business and you can't do it alone. So it's just that's just kind of, I feel like most of the time we're just putting out fires.
Welcome to being a business owner.
Right.
Me too.
And so we just, we're trying to add things. We've added our cut flowers out in the field out here. Of course, we'll plant them. We've started the seedlings. We'll plant them here in a few weeks to try to get people to stop to buy cut flowers or cut their own. We just sort of have something special for each season. Summertime, it's the vegetables, but we also do the flowers. In the fall, we do pumpkins, but we also have, I think we sell, a whole lot of mums, over 1,000.
Yes.
And we kind of push ourselves to keep that income coming, because we try to keep our people paid. Well, we don't try to keep, we have to keep our people paid through the year. So we try to keep everybody busy. And Christmas, which is probably my favorite season.
Okay.
Well, we've been selling Christmas trees,
Yes.
I think since the year I came to work here in 1996. And so we go get Christmas trees from the mountains and bring them back and sell them, and we have to hire young guys plus Connor plus some help to sell those, because Don and I are getting old and we can't handle the Christmas trees anymore. And we make our own wreaths, and we sell poinsettias, and our gift baskets have been a really big thing. But that's probably my favorite season, because it's a season most people come in and they're happy.
Yes.
It's a happy season.
Christmas spirit.
And then we have our break from Christmas until 1st of March, and we start with spring. That's my other favorite season because it's
Look how beautiful.
It's new beginnings.
It is new beginnings.
It's new beginnings. The sun is out. You have warm days, cold days, but mostly pretty days that you get to enjoy all of God's beauty.
Yes. And so you open March 1st every year. And so what is is it the plants and all of that that's like the main attraction?
That's the main thing.
In March.
In March, yeah. And we don't sell a whole lot in March, but we're getting stocked up and ready and trying to get everybody in the mood to come by a little bit.
Easter's coming.
Easter's
you
coming.
Gotta have all the things.
You gotta have the hanging baskets, the ferns. We get a ton of ferns, and we try to have a little special through March to kind of move some of them out and give us some room. But the grower we use in Clarksville is they just do such a good job, and they're so close by and make it easy for us to pick up. But we've added to our gift shop in there. We're trying to, I'd say that's probably one of my weakest things is I'm not very good at knowing what people like to decorate with because I don't do a whole lot of that myself. Yeah. But we've tried to improve the appearance and what we have to offer inside the store that's not perishable, that has a little bit of shelf life. And we added hot dogs. Yes. We did hot dogs years ago, and we quit doing them because we just didn't sell very many. And so with all of the solar panel workers in the neighborhood, they're looking for some lunch. So we started doing hot dogs again, and with social media since the last time, it's just taken off, and we sell a ton of hot dogs, which sounds kind of basic, and it is basic, but we make our own chili, we make our own slaw, we chop our own onions, and so it's like a gourmet hot dog.
I love that. I love a good hot dog.
So if you haven't had one, they are really good.
And ice cream.
And ice cream. We have Richland's Creamery, which is out of Blackstone.
So good.
They do the homemade ice cream, and that's really good too. So we try to add a little bit of value-added stuff here and there. And of course, I was talking to you earlier, we have, and I tend to forget it because we've been doing it for so long.
I love this story.
Ms. Reese's pickles, jellies, and preserves. Pat's Pickles and Jellies. And Ms. Reese was Don's mother, of course. She passed away a year and a half ago, but back in the 90s when she was kind of doing the same thing, I'm trying to come up with something to just keep the doors open and grow the business, she used her own recipes to make pickles, jellies, preserves, and she graduated from Virginia Tech with an extension agent degree, and she took the classes to be able to make the products to sell in large quantities here. And so we had to do the same thing when she retired, but she trained Cheryl on how to make all of this stuff. So Cheryl makes it. And so when you come in and the shelves are kind of empty, just know that we're doing it just as fast as we can. Cheryl makes in the neighborhood of 3,000 jars a year.
Wow.
And everything is small batch. We get a pot, we might double batch a thing of strawberry preserves, but we don't do any co-packing, we don't do any mass production. It's a pack of pectin and the fruit and the sugar, and everything is just made. Wow. If it says Pat's, we have a few things we sell that aren't hers, but if it's got her name on it, that means we made it here. And so
that's fantastic. I had no idea.
Yeah, and so it's really neat because I think we have to be inspected by USDA and the state VDAX.
Yep.
And VDAX has told us that we're only one of about 2 places in the whole state. I may have that number wrong, but around 2 or 3 places in the whole state that even do this anymore.
Really?
People make this the jellies and pickles and preserves under the cottage program, but we sell too many to qualify for that. Plus, we don't have an actual farmer's market. We're a retail for-profit chain, not chain. We're a retail for-profit store. So we have different guidelines. We had to go to a class and take tests and be certified by the state and do all that to even make pickles. So it's something that we're proud of. Ms. Reese did such a good job with it, and she always liked to share her jellies with the family, and always had pickle on the table. And when I was growing up, we only had pickle on Sunday or special occasions, but she had pickle at every meal. And so she was just so good at it and loved it. So I'm glad we've been able to continue that.
That is amazing.
And we do our gift baskets. We don't do so many through the year. We can, but at Christmas time, gosh, we do several hundred, and we put her jellies and pickles in there. And I think that's something that people you can't just get anywhere.
And can you do the baskets
We
year
can.
round?
We don't do as many, and
Yeah.
that's something we really need to
great
push
gift.
also,
Yeah.
is to add on to that, but mostly at Christmas time.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, I feel like you're everywhere. And you have partnerships with the grocery stores around here, is that
well,
correct?
my nephew does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are strict. We're basically just retail, and then we do some growing too. But
Okay.
he tends to all that. So,
Yes. And I mean, it's just everywhere. I love to see it. I love coming here. It's like my little weekend tradition.
well, that's sweet. I know
to come and gather everything.
Yeah.
And so, what is your best seller every year? What's like the thing?
The thing. Probably just the cantaloupes, the corn,
Yes.
the strawberry. I guess the most popular is the strawberries. People just have a fit over the strawberries,
Yes.
and they're so good. And but the cantaloupes, the watermelons, the corn, they're the things that in the summertime people just get so excited. Every season has its thing, but I'd say that's a longer season.
Yes.
And people just kind of go, they like that and kind of go crazy over that. But the big, when we get to the end of the summer, we have our own butter beans.
Yeah.
And butter beans are something that people don't really grow anymore because no one wants to pick them, no one wants to shell them. And so that was why Don wanted to do this harvester. And I'm like, that's a whole lot of machine and a whole lot of money. Do you really think we can do that? And so he says, yes, I've done the math. And when you do the math, it's always more optimistic than it really
Definitely.
So it took us a couple years longer to pay for it than we thought it would, but we got it paid off pretty quick with our sales. But butter beans and purple hull peas, that is something that is in this region that people just love, and it's hard to find, and they scoop them up, and I'm amazed what people will pay for a pack of butter beans. I mean,
Yes.
it's just, anyway, when you have flowers and you have your own vegetables and all, you probably don't put a lot of value on monetary. It's hard to put a monetary value on it, but people will pay for that because it's something they can't get just anywhere. And we do grow our own beef too. My
Kent's
son,
beef.
yes, Kent. He's our middle child, and he showed livestock. Well, all three of them showed livestock, but he showed livestock, and when he was in middle school and high school. And he really liked handling the beef. So that's his little thing. We have a pasture back here that we've got 3 steers in, and we'll take probably 2 or 3 of them to process in May. So our freezers will be full. I know that's
Can't
something
wait.
y'all usually get.
Can't wait.
I wish there was some way we could develop a steer that was full of nothing but ribeyes and fillets.
Yes.
If we could only do that.
Yes.
But we haven't figured that one out yet. But that's something that is a little niche market we have. The market's getting a little flooded with that, but we still do very well with it.
Oh, it's my favorite. And whenever you post that you are stocked, I am here.
Yes, and then it's just gone. But
Yeah.
anyway, we hope to have it a little bit longer this year. So.
Well, I mean, okay, so all of the produce, what are you planning for this summer? What are your goals? What do you want to achieve this year?
Well, I guess we're kind of by the seat of our pants most
I love
of the
it. I love this.
We want to maintain good health.
That's
a goal
yes.
every year. And so far, my health's hanging in.
Yes.
And so I think we're set for this season. If I could keep the people that I have now, I will be thrilled. And just to be profitable, have a good season, we like to offer a good service. We want to have a good name. That's very important to us. We don't knowingly ever deceive anyone with what we have. And we just want to be just good partners in the community. I would really like to work a little bit more on helping out. I feel like sometimes I get so bogged down with the business and just putting out my own fires. I don't donate and I don't plan as well.
Right.
And so I'd like to do a better job of planning. I'd like to do some little events, and I think I'm going to do this, but then I just get bogged down with day to day, and it just never happens. So if you're an little event planner and you want to talk to me about planning some little stuff here, I would love to do that to get the community involved.
Yeah.
Anyone that wants to talk to me about that, get the community a little bit more involved in coming down to Scottsburg and coming to the farm. But that's pretty much, we don't have any, oh, yes we do. We have we've started the process of adding blackberries. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
a couple year process. And so our plants are coming in this week. We're going to plant some blackberry vines. Cole's Berry Farm up at Asbury sells them. And we went up last year and picked our own and sold them.
Yeah.
And they did such an awesome job, but their farm is for sale.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they've sold it yet. I hope they
Right.
haven't, because I want to go back and pick this summer.
Yes.
But they do such an awesome job with growing, and it kind of motivated us to put our own in. I would really like to just keep going there to pick, but it's for sale if it hadn't been sold, and so I'm afraid if that happens, then we may not have that opportunity anymore. So we're going to put our own in, and hopefully within 5 years we'll have a good pick your own operation for that.
Awesome. I mean, you've really taken farming and made it something great. And you hear a lot in the news, and I mean, and just in the world, it's just going away.
Yes.
And you are keeping it alive. Has it always been something have you always loved growing things and seeing
I
the
have.
growth, or was it just something that you kind of fell
Well,
into
you
and learned to
kinda-
love?
Well, I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
And I immediately liked growing flowers
Yes.
and having a little garden when I got married. I was only 19 when I got married, and Don was always on the farm or at the mill, or there were no cell phones. I never knew when he was coming home, and I was always that little bride that was frustrated that my husband was not home. He worked all the time, and I knew that, but you just don't feel like it's going to be that bad.
Yeah.
So I just picked up a hobby. I said, well, I'm going to grow flowers, and I'm going to start my own little garden. And so I did that, and then it just kind of grew from there. And then coming here to work, and I just get a little high when I come in and see all this. I still just, when I see it and the truck comes up and we start unloading it, I still just get, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And so it's this is probably, as far as being able to use my hands, this is my favorite. And but it's something that Don he grew up on the farm. I grew up in town, but I had access to a farm, so I had a great appreciation for it. And so it's just kind of something I grew to love, and my children loved it. It's such a good way to teach your children about business, about appreciating the land. They hunt, they fish, they like to grow things, and they didn't always love it as teenagers when they had to work, but now that they have gone on and they've gone to college or gone to work and have their own careers, it's something that when they talk to other 20-somethings or 30-somethings and they don't understand simple things of life, they can explain it to them. And so it has made them better, I think, better contributors to society because of what they did here. And we so appreciated everything they did, because even though sometimes it was a grumble, I don't want to go to work, why do I have to work there? It also provided them with income to help pay for college and help buy things they wanted. And they would, my daughter especially would get so upset because I would take her money every week. I'd put it in the bank. And she'd be like, why are you taking my money? And I said, because you need money for college. And so she appreciated that later. But and you have them here with you all the time. And that's not always pleasant. But looking back, it's something I wouldn't trade for anything. It's just such a good, it's such a good life. And I don't have any, of course we always have some regrets, but as far as doing things differently, it's been nice. Don is he's so calm and cool. I don't know if you know him, but he is Mr. Chill. And I get wound up tight, and he's just like, calm down. It's really not, and when somebody tells you calm down, it kind of makes you mad.
Yes.
And so I have learned as I've gotten older that really, Sarah, you do need to calm down. It's just not that bad. And so, but then again, I kind of am like, you need to worry about this.
And that's why you run the business.
That's right. And so we just have a good balance. And we've worked, and I missed him. When he started teaching school, I thought, this isn't going to be bad. We're going to have a steady paycheck every month. We have insurance. We're going to have benefits. But I missed him.
Yeah.
He is truly my partner.
Yeah.
And I have missed seeing him all the time and eating lunch with him and all that. But probably in about 5 more years, I'm going to put him back to work here, and he's going to retire from the school, and he's going to become my employee again.
Yes. So that'll be fun and a whole new evolution. And I mean, I'm just thrilled to learn your story and hear about this because I mean, you're a pillar in the community, whether,
Well,
and
thank
you're
you.
not here saying like, oh, we're going to be seen everywhere and we're going to do this. You've just done it over time.
We
and
have.
You're so respected. I respect you so
Well,
much
thank
for what you
you.
do. I love coming here. It's one of my favorite places and favorite things to do on the weekend. So thank you for everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And we appreciate all of our customers
Yeah.
and our friends and people that come and support our business. It's just, sometimes it's just overwhelming that people want to come and do business with us. But we try to, we try to be good business people, and we try to be good neighbors. And so we have things that we need to work on as far as interacting with the community better and being more giving ourselves. But we're going to work on that. We're going to try to get better.
You're going to do it. Well, in the meantime, where can everyone find you? You're always giving updates on social media, right?
We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Reese's Farm Fresh. I'm not really good at Instagram. I need a little tutorial. I kind of have Facebook down because I've been doing it for so
Yes.
long, but really Instagram and Facebook is all I do. And so that's
Well, it's all going to be linked. So be sure to follow the page with all the exciting updates and the
Yes.
things to come. You do a great job at Facebook.
well, thank you.
That's where I get all the updates.
Thank you. I feel like
So-
we need to, so many people are not on Facebook now, so I feel like
Yeah.
we need to do that and to do better with that. But anyway, it's an easy tool for me, the grandma. So it's I can handle that pretty good. So
Well, thank you so much for allowing
thank
us to
you,
come sit
Alyssa.
with you today and learn about the Reese's Farm Fresh story. And I mean, I can't wait to see the amazing things you do.
well, thank you. We
And-
appreciate it. We appreciate being appreciated. so.
Yes, well, definitely very appreciated. And I also appreciate everyone for watching and listening to this episode today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Be sure to follow their Facebook page, get all the updates, and come support. It's the best. You don't want to miss out. And continue rating, reviewing, subscribing, and doing all the things you always do. And we will talk to you next week. Bye.